So this is my second podcast episode, and today we're talking to this guy, my friend, a longtime friend, high school, woohoo, shout out, woohoo, who's been doing podcasts for way longer than I have, even though I'm in the industry and he's not. He is a psychologist, and I am a video marketer, supposedly. So I'm talking to him about things that I'm curious about, hence the Curiosity Conversations podcast. But the things I'm specifically trying to figure out I'm not sure. I'll interview a linguist next. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, so you're a non-technical podcast starter. What do I actually need to know? Obviously, I know the technical side, but from a non-technical side, what does a person need to do or know or think before they start a podcast? But we also got into things that are slightly random, like the problems with the internet and human psychology stuff. Why do we do what we do? You know, my brain. And this is the Curiosity Conversations. I'm David. Enjoy the episode. I have like a list of like 10 problems with the internet.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the problems.
That people have something to solve?
Why are you writing your blog post? Why are you posting your video? Why are you making a podcast?
I mean, if you have a message that you want to bring out to the world, I think it makes sense to do one.
So who is this person?
I don't know. It could be anything. Depends what your message is.
All right. So I'm saying, walk me through it. Like, give me a scenario.
I'll give you for my own personal experience. When I was 14, I was definitely going through some tough times, and I felt almost lost. So I went on YouTube and I was looking up different self-development stuff, and I found different YouTubers that at the time were really like a lifesaver. They just taught me so much. And one concrete example, this was later when I was 19, Jim Rohn. He's just like a super influential figure, and they had one of his whole speeches on YouTube, and I listened to it and I just was so moved by what he said. And because of him, I have like a stock portfolio with close to $20,000, which it's not a huge amount for big time investors, but for like somebody that was making like $30,000 a year being a teacher while I was in school, that was like a really big amount of money that I was able to just save up. And
Congrats.
thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, to him, to his credit, like if he wouldn't have put out those videos, I wouldn't have had that experience. So I want to kind of reach out to other people in similar situations where maybe they're struggling socially, and I'm a therapist and I could maybe help them to find themselves a little bit. Like, to me, that's an important, valuable thing. Like, I want to be there for that 14-year-old kid that is like me, or a 19-year-old kid that's just looking for advice of what they should do in their early 20s. That's what I want to be there for,
That's so dope.
Yeah.
Let's dig into that though.
Sure. Yeah.
So let's go back to this gym dude, right?
Yeah, sure.
Why was he doing it?
So, I mean, he was probably selling his tapes. He had his own business. He was doing, I forget something greens. And, he was trying to sell his product. But at the end of the day, I never bought any of his products. I just was moved by his words. So it's like, yeah.
Right. So that's that's like the ideal scenario where you have a guy who's like making some money off it, but you're able to get enough from it for free. Right. That you feel like you got something valuable, and it's not like clickbaity selling you to the next stage.
Yeah.
And he gets, has his own business. I don't know, whatever he's selling, like he's making enough money on his end.
Yeah.
And then it's a win-win. But a lot of times, and let's say let's talk about you for a second, right? So you're a super altruistic guy, nice guy, right? You just want to get back to all these 19-year-olds, right?
That's not the only reason, but yeah.
What's all the reasons?
I mean, eventually I would want to monetize it. From selfishly, like I look at other podcasters and YouTubers, and I see them, interviewing some of the most interesting people alive, traveling, just making money on something that they love, where it's very flexible. Like, I eventually want to get to that level where I can interview the most interesting people alive and not just vicariously live through them, and where I can travel to meet these people even and make money doing it. Like, that would be a dream,
Okay, first of all, I listened to your podcast with that guy from Kew Garden Hills or whatever that is in college, super...
My aim hawk.
Yeah. Interesting fellow.
Yes.
I'm like halfway or quarter way through it.
No problem.
But yeah, no, super cool. Because it's very interesting thoughts, and like has a lot to say, and he has something, not like a specific, Right. I'm saying that's the type of guy that doesn't usually get interviewed.
Right. Yeah.
Usually there's a pattern. Even when I'm thinking about starting my own podcast, this is the beginning of my podcast. What's up?
Yeah.
So
by the way, huge props for doing that. That's like a big step. I'm really excited for you.
But the issue is, right? So who gets interviewed on podcasts?
Yeah.
Famous people.
Yeah.
Why? Because they have a following, they have a name.
Right.
And except for on the small end of things, people who don't have a following, maybe are interviewing other people who don't have a following. But then as soon as they could get someone with a following, but the people with a following, they're doing it for a reason, right?
Right.
We're going to finish that circle in a second, I think.
Yeah.
But they're doing it for a reason, and they're just kind of like, but let's go back to your 19-year-old, you want to help these 19-year-olds. So if you don't monetize it, like how much time could you put into this?
But I view it like a hobby, meaning there is the obvious long-term goal that I would love for it to be successful. It's more of like a fantasy. I don't expect that to happen. But, to answer your question specifically, if it's a hobby, if it's something you love doing, then, you spend money in it and you put time into it. And if you enjoy it, you do it, I don't do music professionally, but I still spent $3,000 on instruments, probably even more, and hundreds of dollars in lessons, and I love doing it. It's worth every penny.
Love spending the money.
Yeah, if you enjoy it and it's a good outlet, it's worth it. And same thing with podcasting. If you have a message you want to share, it's so valuable. I just get such a kick out of thinking, and I do get feedback from my podcast, and people tell me actually that a lot of the things that I say are super useful. I think somebody told me, I don't remember what I had said that sparked this for him, but he said he stopped talking trash about other people because he realized from something I had said in the podcast. It was random. I wouldn't have made that connection, but for some reason he did. And it's imagine making that kind of positive change in someone's life.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Can we
Sure.
Can we direct people to that segment of your podcast? I mean, every time instead of telling people not to talk trash, you're just yo, check this out. Where's that clip? Yo, Gabi Koyenov Podcast, check it out.
Yeah. That's the funny thing. I don't remember the exact thing that he pointed to, but it wasn't about that. Somehow he made that connection.
That's awesome. Right. Yeah, but basically just to finish this idea of the problem with the internet, so then essentially, right, I looked up super different angle. I'm going to get happy for a second. When my grandmother passed away, I was looking up the camps that she was in the Holocaust. And I looked up the name of one of the camps, and I found zero, nothing on it. Not one, anything. I don't even think there's a Wikipedia article. And then I'm like, wait, that's how the internet works. Who's incentivized to write about this camp? Right? Because if no one's there has to be an incentive somewhere for someone to write about something. You want to find a fish tank for your fish, right? So you look up best fish tanks. So who's reviewing the fish tanks?
The sellers probably.
Either the sellers or the affiliate people, right? So that's the information you're going to get from the affiliate people who are making money on the fish tanks, on the back end from Amazon or whatever, or they're pushing a specific fish tank. And that's pretty much it. So meaning we're in this feedback loop of people are feeding you information on purpose for a reason, but if they don't have a reason to push this type of thing, they're not going to talk about it.
Right.
So water, for example, right? Who's pushing water? There's no one running Instagram ads for water. It's not it's not some celebrity posing with a glass. Yeah. It's on the other hand, right? Coke and Dr. Pepper and vitamin water and death liquid or liquid
that
death.
Is water, no?
Liquid death
is water, I think. Yeah.
That they're selling.
They're selling. Right?
I'm talking about the thing that comes out of your sink.
Right.
The only person making money on that is their utility. They're not making that much money to So no one's pushing the core essence stuff that we need to get and who's promoting being a good dude? Nobody.
I hear that. Yeah.
They're promoting their divorce services. They're not promoting no one's promoting you to stay together with your spouse unless they're selling you therapy.
Yeah. I had a very similar interesting conversation with Moshe Schwartzberg on one of my podcasts. He's a marketer. And I kind of brought up this point where it's meaning America kind of has a very unhealthy lifestyle in general. At least what you see out in the large. There's a obesity crisis and people are malnourished despite being overweight in many cases. And just what's the deal with that?
That's a good point right there. I never thought about it like that, but it's like they're
Right.
malnourished like from vitamin E.
Yeah, random vitamins
Right.
they just don't get. And versus I think in Israel, there is a lot of recent stuff going on in Israel, but whatever. Before when we had this conversation, Israel typically people are very fit, very healthy lifestyle. People walk, people eat much healthier in general. So it's like what causes that, what creates that, and we were just talking about marketing. It's an interesting episode to check out.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What was the takeaway?
I don't know that there is like just one takeaway, but it was a fun conversation. I think, I don't know, you need companies like Liquid Death or Poland Spring or something to just come out and make a very strong push for look at these athletes. You want to look amazing, you want to live a good life, you want to be healthy and whatever, drink water, stay hydrated.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
They're only going to push it if it makes them money.
Right.
I want the non-made money part. Like Liquid Death is pushing water that they're selling in a can, whatever. No one's telling you to turn on your sink and drink water.
Yeah.
Nobody. Not nobody. I once saw a snowboarder with a logo of like a spigot. That's where that got
spigot?
Yeah, like the thing you turn.
Okay.
Like the sink.
Right.
So he had that on the bottom of his snowboard, right? And everyone else is pushing Red Bull. He's, little
his
contrast
thing is like drink water.
Yeah, so maybe he wants to get sponsored by Red Bull.
Yeah.
That's like, Red Bull, I got you. I don't need you. No, but like in reality, that's kind of like, you expand that to across the, like you won't really, and then build that out to blogs and websites and, so.
People just have something to sell to you.
That's another problem. Yeah. The motivations.
Yeah. You bring up kind of an interesting point. There is this author, Yuval Noah Harari. Have you ever heard of his book, Sapiens?
I think I might have heard the name from, yep.
No. So in his book, he talks about, whatever, I don't want to change the topic too much, but he talks about how basically capitalism is, he views it kind of like as a religion almost, and, money is the most valuable thing, and everyone believes in money collectively, and within capitalism, everyone just has an incentive to like make money. Everything is just, you could put a price tag on anything basically. So, that's kind of like an interesting point that you talk about, like how our economy and how people's collective values are looked at is through how much cash you can get out of it. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if I said that correctly, but yeah.
Right.
And meaning it is an issue because it's like, for instance, some of the smartest minds, instead of going into cures for cancer, things like space exploration or whatever, anything that could be useful to promote humanity and humanism and bring us to the next level, some of those smartest minds, instead of going into that, are going into just how do I make the most money,
I just met this fascinating person who's a biochemist.
Yeah.
And he's working on a cure for leukemia. And he has what he thinks is a cure for leukemia, but it's a rare form of leukemia and it only affects 1 in like 125,000 people, and he can't get money for it.
Right.
But if it was like general leukemia, he'd get the money in a second.
Interesting, right. That's really sad.
Yeah, it's really sad. I never would have thought, but like it's basically getting no's because, and he has like, he has 20 people working for him. Like he wants to scale it and build out this, cure. And I mean, unfortunately, it seems like the motivations are not there.
Right. I think like conversely, if this same guy had like, I figured out how to hack this specific part of the market, and it can make like millions or whatever, like just through hacking this one little niche. I'm sure he would get investors. You know what I'm saying? Like it's, maybe I'm just.
So you're saying market, like meaning if he had a product to sell to 1 out of 125,000 people.
Yeah, maybe.
As long as it's like a profitable enough project. No, but it was the same thing.
Yeah, it is the same thing. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I guess essentially is in a free market, meaning there's a cap for how much people are going to pay for leukemia treatment,
right?
Or how much the insurance companies are going to pay.
Yeah.
Versus like if you could really sell that 125,000 people like $1 billion product.
Right.
But probably 1 in 125,000 people are not buying $1 billion products.
Right.
Yeah. So let's switch a little bit and tell me, you started a podcast how long ago?
Yeah, I started a podcast, I think last January.
It feels like it's been like 3 years. Has it been 3 years since last January? Just tell me.
I believe it was last January, maybe a little bit before, but I started a YouTube channel, I want to say no, I think even that was last year in the spring.
So YouTube channel came first?
Yeah, YouTube channel was first.
And then you switched?
And then I didn't switch, I always wanted to do both, but it's very time consuming, and then I got married basically, and that just put a huge pause on things.
When was the last YouTube video? When was your last upload?
Okay, so I just uploaded just this stupid little video, like probably 2 weeks ago, like a 2-minute video on that I want to come back onto YouTube, but and I'm actually planning a video about starting a podcast and like what it takes to start a podcast and all that. So that should be exciting. And
give us a little teaser. What is it?
No, I was just going to talk a little bit about the equipment and my experience and like just the pros and cons that I've found in starting a podcast and the way that I've done it. And, a lot of stuff I'm going to talk about, I probably said on this interview about how it's a massive opportunity to just reach out to somebody that needs a hand. And you could do that. It's a beautiful thing. Honestly, I hope that your podcast just has a lot of success. It would be really cool. Somebody of us should be famous, for our classmates. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird for me because I'm usually the one, either I'm doing my own direct-to-camera video or I'm conducting an interview, but I'm off camera.
Right. This is your first project on camera.
Yeah, but not like I'm not on camera.
Oh, really?
But yeah, so this is interesting for me. Also, there's a whole different way of talking. Usually if I'm doing an interview, but I'm behind the camera, I have to make sure that we're not talking over each other because you're the only one that's going to be in the video. Right. So I have to make sure that the way you talk is you're not running over yourself and you pause once in a while or whatever. But here it's probably just going to go straight because you need clean cuts for audio, right? You know that. Right. So yeah, but this is like a whole different format. So far my brain hasn't been thinking about it too much, to be honest, but. Yeah.
Dude, the advice that I would just give you or give anyone is just do it and practice. And even if the product is not great, perfection is the enemy of the good. You're just gonna don't kill yourself doing it. Just put out a product and you will get better.
Can we quote Robert Ferry on that?
Is that his quote?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Don't let perfection. Yeah, no, I don't know. By the SEMA Shas, he said it.
Interesting. Yeah.
On the last SEMA Shas. Anyways, so I guess I want to get your perspective because I know you a long time. You're not a technical person. Nope. You weren't fiddling with cameras with Yakov and I in 9th grade or whatever. Like, you're not a technical person, but yet you're the guy who did it and made a YouTube channel, and you probably published 10 times more videos than I did on my YouTube channel because you're just doing it. Right? I'm a technical person. I spent years of my life studying this while you're studying psychology and weird stuff like that. Right. Even though I think what I do is psychology too.
Yeah, it is.
But no, the best part for me, the whole interview thing, is getting in the person's head and when I know what I want to get out of a person, which I don't know right now, but generally it's like get in their head and figure out how to get the story out. But at the same time, thinking about story structure and what do I need, what's gonna work in an edit, what's not. But you did it, and you just figured it out, and you went online and figured out, oh, I need this and this and this. We were talking technical for like a second at one point, but you were just publishing. You pulled out your iPhone and you...
Yeah, literally. But it happens to be I have like 17 videos up. Nothing crazy.
But that is crazy though. And I mean, just think about it, right? The majority of people never publish a thing in their life, probably. Yeah, there's certain books that I hate to mention, but the publishers with people look at stuff versus consume versus create, whatever. Most people don't create, so to create, it goes in your head. Oh, what am I doing? Yeah. What am I saying? What am I gonna look stupid? All these things. Right. People don't do it. And then there's also the technical of how do I actually get this video made and published. Right. Part of what I do is I help people create stuff, right? People who don't want to do it themselves. So there's like, from my perspective, there's like, okay, I'll come in and help them do it. But like for some people, like people ask me, could you help me set up my studio, whatever? Sure. But like most people, it's like, well, video, or like I just don't have time to do it. Whenever you obviously have the time. But if you had to tell someone who's non-technical,
Yeah.
it comes down to what?
Okay. I mean, the first thing I would just say is you kind of have to have something to say. You can't just do it just because I want to be a YouTuber or I want to be a podcaster. So then you just start it. Like, meaning it's okay to feel like I just want to try to have a good time or to experiment with it, but you kind of have to have some type of content. But just what I would say as just practical advice is just do it and just put it out. What does it take? It just takes doing it. Just do it, put it out, and you learn from experience. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, about that. So your podcast and your YouTube channel are all over the place, let's
It's
say.
totally all over the place, yeah.
Do you feel like if you were more niche, your content would take off more, or you don't care?
I'll be honest. So I eventually want to be niche. I want to be in the mental health, self-help intersection, meaning like I wanted to be kind of like mental health informed self-help. That's the eventual direction I want to go on in my YouTube channel, and that will be my niche. But it's so hard to actually get on YouTube and put out a product that you're proud of. It's like it takes a lot of work. You need to practice it, speaking in front of a camera. Like, I've known you for a long time, and I feel like this conversation is pretty real. But even still, I'm still a little bit guarded. It's hard to just totally
Of
be.
course.
Yeah, it's like you're in front of a camera, you're on a mic, and it's
I think
tough.
it's the real fake version of you.
Yeah, it's the real fake version of me. That's how I put it. But as time goes on, as you do more podcasts, as you put out more videos, you'll just learn to break that barrier to stop saying for example, and like, and those random filler words you say, because cutting them out is such a nuisance. So, you punish yourself, and you learn to not use them as much.
But Descript does it for you now.
The what?
Descript.
Descript?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you all about Descript later.
No, there's some AI type software that will take
it out for you.
But I went to a conference once for like creatives. It was called a BAM conference, and then I was walking around, and here's everyone from like LinkedIn, and like no one's anything like their personas.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Such a joke. And then so when I get to sit someone down, right, then I see like the real them. And like you got like, oh, Mr. Confidence Macho, you sitting down for interviews. No, I'm not knocking it. Like it's totally fine. Like for them, like it's a weird thing to be in front of a camera or side of the camera or whatever.
Yeah.
But just the contrast between like their selfie video LinkedIn self, you know,
versus how they actually are.
Yeah, like I don't know, maybe it took them 85 million takes till they got over themselves to post that selfie video. I don't know, like I mean, you don't really know. That's another problem with the internet, by the way.
You don't know who people actually are. Yeah.
There's one guy, nicest guy. I was chatting with him on LinkedIn, whatever, and then one day I decided like, hey, you know what? Like we've been chatting for a while. Let's talk on the phone. So I have a call with him, and like, this is like positive about him. I don't think he's 100% there. Like I think he's perhaps on the spectrum or whatever.
Okay.
It doesn't make him still not the nicest guy, whatever.
Right.
But because I know that about him, my relationship with him is different, and we're still friends. We still talk.
Right.
But I had no clue who. Meaning, I never met him. I just saw his profile picture. I saw his profile. I see him commenting a lot and helping people out and whatever. You know, he's still this epic dude to help him up. But now I know him a little more because I just heard his voice for a second.
Yeah, and you were just able to read something.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Strange how that happens.
I'm saying he's the nicest guy.
Right.
Still, I now I know a little more about him. He's, he's awesome. Like, before I thought like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now I have like a different picture. It's super cool how like you got past the internet facade, and then it's just different people there.
Right.
Sometimes good, like this. I think more highly of him now. Sometimes it's bad. It's like yeah.
No, to go back to your question before though, I think with regards to like the niche, I think for now I'm making the videos that I'm making because it's something that I would want to talk about, and it gives me the opportunity to practice editing and just speaking in front of a camera to let my guard down. So I think that's what I'm doing now. But for the podcast, I actually don't want to change styles. I know it's a little random and a lot of people won't really like that. And that's okay, but I feel like I'm trying to give more of an experience as opposed to like this podcast is about mental health. Like, it's certainly mental health is going to come up a lot, and advice for life is going to come up a lot, but I want it more to be about just vibing with me, my friends, and other guests that I have, and see what comes up, and people hopefully can enjoy the experience and then also come out with practical tools. That's kind of the aim. So that's why it's a little more random. I'm sure it'll get more directed with time, but that's what it is.
So just, if I could totally hijack you for a second.
Sure, yeah.
I just interviewed Joel Spielman.
Yeah.
And he was sitting in that chair right where you are right now. And I was talking to him about, he basically inspired 300 people to keep childless last week.
Really? Wow.
Which is the most epic thing in the world. But I wanted to ask you, from your perspective, from like a psychology perspective. So basically the format was that he posted he's having a raffle, and he got people to buy in, not buy in, to say they want to join the raffle. And if they completed childless, they'd be entered in to win a bunch of money. It was like $1,000.
Oh, wow.
Right. Super awesome. But I want to know, maybe this is something that you think about or study or whatever. Maybe you never thought about this in your life.
Okay.
How does motivation work?
It's a really good question. I don't necessarily know all the psychology behind it, but, emotions are cues for action, generally speaking. So when you feel motivated, it should be driving you towards an action. Now, basically, beyond the emotions that somebody like experiences in a short moment, there are the habits that we have, and our brain works through habits. It's just neural networks where we're trained to do specific things. So somebody might have a feeling, and maybe that might cause change for a short period of time, but that doesn't really do anything unless somebody is committed to breaking that cycle. And some might call it like a homeostasis, like our level that we're usually at. You have to be like committed to like breaking that cycle and committing to a new way of living, and that takes like a lot of work and a lot of positive reinforcement. And in order to break that cycle and move on to the next level. So motivation works that it pushes us to act, but it won't necessarily last unless you really have to have more than motivation. You have to have like discipline, positive feedback, reminders, people that just like really like a community really helps, especially community and people. And when I say community, I don't just mean like a city or whatever. I mean like your friends and your family and people that just remind you to do good things, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So raffle is good motivation, but to have lasting change, it requires the community aspect, requires reminders, requires more motivation.
Yes, absolutely. And to also add, when you do something one time, you're way more likely to do something again. So yeah, just because somebody does it one time doesn't necessarily mean it's going to fall to the wayside, but it does take more than just getting motivated, doing it one time. It takes a real effort.
Right. Do you ever hear the concept to do it for 21 days or?
Yeah.
Where does that come from? I argued with actually Rabbi Kramer, if I call him out. That is an internet myth.
What's this internet myth?
That myth, 21 days.
Oh yeah.
To create a habit.
Remember also Oren used to say that back in high school.
I would definitely argue with him sooner than argue with Rabbi Kramer.
For sure.
Rabbi Kramer responded that, no, I heard it pre-internet. And I couldn't pull out a source, so I kind of leave it. But have you heard of this concept?
I don't know any sources for it.
You've heard the concept.
Yeah, I've heard the concept.
You think it's true?
I think there's definitely a lot of truth to it. When somebody builds a habit or breaks a habit, it just takes basically enough times of building that habit or breaking that habit till your brain rewires. I don't know exactly how many days, or if it's an objective fact, 21 days, 31 days, people say 90 days. I don't know like what day it actually happens for different people. It's probably different, and for different things it's probably different. So whatever. But I think with enough time, with enough practice, you get used to it,
Right.
Yeah. It just becomes a new way of living. Right. Especially if you have some type of community around it, especially,
So have you, I could give you different examples within the Jewish world of, people trying to motivate or inspire change. But if you were to make, this is probably not something you thought of before, but if you were trying to make a formula, right, like perfect recipe for 5, like the highest probability for lasting change? What would that formula look like? Like,
I can't like say for sure, but I think constantly trying to motivate yourself and definitely building a group. Like I'll tell you the easiest way to work out, have a friend meet you at the gym and you will work out every day because he's like relying on you and you guys pump each other up and motivate each other. That's the easiest, that's probably the best way. Same thing with learning. You have a chavrusa, you're gonna, he's relying on you. He's gonna be in the base measures without you. You're gonna go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
But maybe, right. So like, I'll give you an example. There's like the tefillin chats, right? So, some of them, obviously different structures,
Right.
but the basic idea is like, hey, we're all doing this, right? Selfie,
Yeah.
so on. But then some of them throw in, hit 45 days or whatever your goal is, like, meaning they try to, certain raffles, prizes. I saw one place, they almost hired me for video, they didn't, whatever.
Their loss.
They like do a throwdown American Dream, like Nickelodeon, whatever. Like,
Wow.
meaning like what's like I'll think about you're trying to affect lasting change for whatever. Pick a category. We want people to not trash talk each other, whatever it is, right? So like you're trying to set up the system. Give me the Gabi Koyenov foolproof way of like maximum success for So for you, you're telling me one-on-one, get people on one-on-one.
Yeah, get a team. Get people.
There's a money involved. Is there just, there's so much, there's so much psychology here.
Yeah.
So much. And it ties into marketing also because it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm reading a book, I think it's called, basically the premise of the book, I can't think of it right now, is a big brain on the front and it's like, we walk through a day and the decisions that we make and trying to understand why we made those decisions.
Is it the user's guide to the brain?
No, but yeah, it's like a buyer's guide. It's like a brain with a barcode on the front. It's like,
with a barcode.
Great. Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's like, you wake up, the last chapter I started reading is like, you come home from the bar, you get out of the bar, you're like too drunk to take the train, you get in a taxi, and then you pick like on the machine, like you don't have the cash on you, so you do the credit card machine, and then it's like pick a tip option, so it's like 20%, 30%, and then you click like other, and then you hit 25%.
Okay.
Right? And I didn't finish the chapter, but it's probably because you just got anchored. You saw 20, you saw 30. You don't want to do 20 now. You want to do 30. See 25. You go in the middle because you got those two anchors.
Right.
You would have saw like 5%, 10%. You would have went like 7%.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's all throughout life. There's different triggers.
Yeah.
I
think it's in the 48 Laws of Power. I forget which one of the laws it was. I actually don't really love the book, but I went through it.
Wait, but do you know them listed? Like, could you tell me like rule number 12?
No, I don't
law
know
number 12.
Yeah.
I just like, hey, you just threw out the 41 laws of. I'm like, whoa, like 39 laws of 41 laws of power. Let's go.
It's a book by Robert Greene. It's interesting. It's kind of like.
How many books did you quote so far? Versus how many books did I quote? I quoted one book, I think. Yeah, like number 8. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. I forget the exact rule, but it was something like, "Don't fall for the cards you're dealt," and basically like.
Boom. That's deep. Yeah.
Yeah. Like basically what that means is exactly what you said. Like, sir, would you like to tip 20% or 30%? Like now you're thinking, oh, I have to tip, but like, did you really have to tip at all? Or you know what I mean? Or do you have to tip in those numbers, Like, it kind of like people just play with the cards they're dealt, but it's like, it's beyond that. You don't have to fall for that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. Cool. So I guess if I deleted everything in the last 36 minutes that was on this card and that card and that card, and you just had one idea you could share with the world in 2 sentences. Now, you have your own stuff. You don't need my platform to spread your word. But if you want to talk to my audience of whoever's watching us, what's your message for the world? Or like, it could be like, go to Paris Moshe. You can go there.
No, well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
That's what you're using your 2 sentences for? Oh, yeah.
That's funny. No, I really appreciate it. I respect you, man. I'm excited for you. I hope you totally kill this new journey of yours. And I'm really, honestly, it's exciting. and it's exciting for me too. Like as a podcaster, like doing it with other people, super big deal.
Thank you.
Yeah. What I would tell you and your audience is believe in yourselves, people. Do something, do it good, make the world a better place. You have more power than you think about. So stay curious and to the rebellion, of course. Yeah.
And break the fourth wall.
And break the fourth wall. Yes. Yeah. Just to say, like, you can't be afraid of being embarrassed, of looking stupid. You gotta put it out there and get it done, you know?
Yeah, sweet. So where can people find your podcast?
Oh, anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can just look up the Gabi Koyenov Podcast, Spotify.
That's another thing. Okay, so you stop right there. I don't like, why in your pitch are you promoting Spotify, for example? Meaning...
Just say anywhere.
Yeah, like, I don't know. And no, because like, everyone, right? Why are you promoting that, dude? Like, why are you promoting Stitcher or TuneIn or whatever platforms your thing's on? Like, that's not, you're not making money off their thing, so don't tell people to go there.
The reason I say that is just because people have Spotify already, you know?
Fine, so go find it wherever you find their meaning. Or you should be directing people to your website. On your website, you can find your podcast.
That's true. You can find that on my website too.
Yeah, actually?
Yeah, but I think my website is like buzzsprout.com/Gabi Koyenov. So it's like a...
Because we don't pay those $9.99 a year.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, eventually, when the ad revenue comes in, you'll realize, yeah.
For sure. But also, you can find me on YouTube under Gabi Koyenov. It's not, my podcast isn't on there, but I do have some podcast clips, and go check it out. Feel free.
Why is your podcast not on there?
Basically, it's really bad for the YouTube algorithm to have a long-form video that people don't watch. So, my podcast is audio only. If I had video, I would put it on YouTube.
What if you just had like your brand cover or whatever, like just like album art type of thing, and that's it?
Yeah, I have that.
You do have it on there.
But the thing is, my album art is just my picture. I should really hire someone to do like a professional album art.
Or AI, bro.
Or AI, yeah. I tried AI. It didn't do a good job.
You gotta be good. You gotta be good at that. Yeah. So you're saying that it's gonna hurt your ranking.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, how many hours do you got from that would help you also?
But that's the thing. Meaning, nobody is gonna go on YouTube and listen to a podcast with no video.
Why not? What I mean?
Just don't do that.
I went on YouTube to listen to music.
But are you watching the lyrics, or like you listen to it in the background?
I put my phone over there, like actually right over there, and I was playing. Like I listened to it over here. Now, like I'm a caveman. It wasn't like over my speakers or my earbuds or whatever.
Right.
But no, that's what I was actually doing. Like, why YouTube? Because that was the easiest way for me to get music at the moment. Like,
I feel that. Yeah. No, that might be a good point, honestly. But I just think it might help more. It might hurt more than it helps. Like the amount of people that'll be like, oh, Gabi put out an interesting podcast, and then they're just clicking on it and they're sitting. Most of the people use YouTube for visuals, so it's like most of the time. So it's like
also like at work, right? Like I'd totally be like YouTube and like 18, like I have like 50 tabs open. Like I'm not watching whatever it is anyways. Like
yeah, that's true.
I'm not watching videos at work. I mean, maybe not. I don't go to like now. Work is like wherever
Right.
Back in the day when I used to go to like this thing called work, like you can't like no, that's like unprofessional. But like I'm listening to something because like why not?
Yeah.
Anyways, rock on, Gabi.
Yes, you too, man. Awesome.
Sweet. Okay, so that was fun. Gabi is a legend and a good guy, and he one day will have this dope YouTube channel, I am sure. But in the meantime, hit him up. He's super accessible. Fun guy to be around. And I hope you got something out of this. I know I did. We ended up talking for like an extra hour about the technical ins and outs of podcasting. And that's when I got to give my 2 cents on his gear setup and lighting and stuff like that. But the main takeaway that I tell myself is I got to keep it simple. Hence my setup with a camera right now on a dresser. Yep, true story. And the mic in my hand instead of on a boom stand, because we all got to create, and the stuff that gets in our way of creating is just in our way. So create no matter what. And if you need help creating, hit me up. I'm happy to help you. My number is 347-361-082.